So the year of 2004 was full of many great things, like Shrek 2 and Spider-Man 2 dominating the box office, Lizard Man Mark Zuckerberg just launching Facebook, kids stealing their parents' credit cards to buy the recently released Nintendo DS, and Jude Law was named the sexiest man alive. But during that time, there was a certain series of games that were around that inspired an entire generation. The Tony Hawk Pro Skater series started in 1999, developed by Neversoft and published by Activision. Activision, by the way. A skateboarding video game that involves you getting high scores and collecting giant floating letters. The series is remembered for a lot of things, from its fun and addicting gameplay, near perfect level design, and let's not forget the soundtracks that influenced a lot of our music tastes. Needless to say, this series was banging! Now in 2003, Neversoft made Tony Hawk's Underground. Up until this point, the Tony Hawk games didn't really have a story, you just completed objectives on different levels and that was already near perfect. But here it changed. Putting you in the role of a skate rat from the armpit of the East Coast known as New Jersey, you completed objectives to eventually become a true pro skater. And this game probably being my second favorite of the series right behind Pro Skater 3, but many fans would consider Underground their favorite. And it's hard to argue against. There's plenty good I could say about this game, but today I want to talk about the sequel that was released a year later in 2004. Underground 2, being commonly referred to by fans as Thug 2, it was the 6th game in the series, and 3rd game to be released on the 6th console generation. Now Underground 2 didn't really get the same response as the first, being the lowest reviewed game of the series at the time with an 83 on Metacritic, coming with a lot of critiques. The main one being poster boy Tony Hawk being overshadowed by everyone's favorite Viva La Bam star Bam Margera, and the game going from a somewhat more grounded story of friendship and betrayal to essentially becoming a Jackass marketing gig. And like, listen, I get it, Activision wanted to get that bag. No real surprise there. So with MTV and Jackass being big at that time, I can kinda understand why they went with this change of tone. But being little 7-year-old me at the time, I thought this game was hysterical. But looking a bit back, it's not really as funny, apart from a part or two that made me chuckle. But at its core, it's still a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, so the gameplay really never gets old to me. I mean, I have over 20 years of muscle memory in how to play these games, so it's definitely stuck with me. Once I booted up the game, I started making my character. Character customization in these games were always pretty great, but I decided to go with a preset just because I'm lazy. I chose this tiny sumo wrestler looking character because why not, and then we jump into the story mode. Thug 2 picks up after Thug 1 left off, seeing our overweight man baby skating in his hometown of New Jersey, when suddenly we're kidnapped and tossed into a van by Jason Voorhees' little helpers. That's weird, I don't remember a Friday the 13th movie involving Jason having minions. But anyway, we're taken to this old warehouse with a lot of other pro skaters and a returning Eric Sparrow from the Thug 1. When a masked man appears with a chainsaw and makes Eric piss himself.
I would think the last word you're gonna hear would be... Hello, butt nuggets.
Two teams of skaters traveling the world and seeing what team can commit the most acts of terrorism. And everyone's just okay with it.
Hey, I know you kidnapped me from my wife and child, and they're probably worried sick about me, and they'll most likely already called the authorities, but sure, I'll join a little skating contest. Terrorism? Sign me up.
Tony and Bam pick teams and make you feel like a kid in gym class about to be picked last for kickball. It's down between us and
Wheels of Fury Riot, the 10-year-old skating madman.
a kid in a full body cast in a wheelchair. Yeah, it's a pretty tough choice. Disabled preteen or a man wearing a diaper. Bam ends up picking Paulie over us because he's an idiot, and we're put on Team Hawk. Now technically the game starts you off in the training level, which in itself is a slightly reimagined version of the warehouse level from Pro Skater 1. The first level in the whole series, actually. It's pretty neat how they add a whole other section to the level, but I don't really remember going through it a lot. This time around they added a focus mode. Basically you fill your special meter up and click in the right stick and the camera zooms in on you and everything slows down, like my IQ back in high school. Honestly, never really found myself using this mechanic unless a goal required it, so meh. Then there's the freak out meter. Basically, if you bail mid-combo, you mash the triangle button, you fill up this meter, and it breaks your board in like a silly way. And it's just a silly little thing that gets you points for your new combo, but again, I really rarely use this. Also, I decided to play a story on sick difficulty, which is like the hardest. But I'm confident because, like I said, I got 20 years of muscle memory. I'm a pro at these games. So we make it to our first official level of the game now. Now to start off, I genuinely feel like this game may have some of the most fun levels in the series. Like, I haven't played it in a long time, and I actually really like the level design in this game, so that's actually a plus. So in this game, you're given a set list of goals to achieve, and for every goal, you get points for your team. Rack up enough points, and you unlock a new level. Simple as that. It's much like the classic Pro Skater games 1, 2, and 3, but without a 2-minute timer. You're just kind of free to skate around the level and do the goals on your own time. And most of the goals are pretty simple, like marking your territory, like with graffiti. That's like another new mechanic, not like by, pissing on the walls. That's illegal. You go and get a high score at the arcade machine, you break statues, and you have the Hawkster himself cure this kid's cancer. Also, I slowly started to regret playing on sick difficulty because you need to beat like 90% of the goals in the level to advance, so it took a lot longer than it should have. You can also choose a pro to join you, which unlocks more goals to achieve, and you also find secret characters that unlock even more goals, so yeah, there's a lot of goals to get through. One of those guests is Jesse James, who rides around on this motorized scooter looking thing, and honestly I hated controlling these vehicle characters. I found them to be bouncy and just difficult, and just not fun to ride around in. Thug 2 also introduced you being able to cause destruction in each of the main story levels. Like how here in Boston we light our board on fire and grind this cannon to make it go boom boom on this construction site. The destruction looks pretty cool, and this was different for that era. I mean, EA was boasting about Levolution back in 2013 with Battlefield 4, like they changed the whole gaming world. Neversoft was just doing this for funsies 9 years earlier. Now really it's only some extra grinding spots or a new half pipe, but still it's pretty neat. After burning Boston to the ground, we meet our players on a rooftop hearing some pretty outdated dialogue.
Your rack is wicked awesome.
Sorta.
Stop it! You're retarded.
No, you are.
Our team apparently loses, then Bam spits on a giant spinning game wheel and we learn one of our teammates is getting kicked out.
Finish him.
Boink.
Fatality.
Bob Burnquist goes home just after the first level and we head off to Barcelona. And we just leave him there, I guess. Now in Spain, we have a new set of goals, like throwing tomatoes at random civilians, letting a bull run rampant on the streets. Yahoo! We also find Steve-O in this level, and listen, I like Steve-O, but his little mechanical bull vehicle here is f***ing terrible. It's awful to control, so I didn't use him barely at all. We also free this Matador we have skate for our team, and each time you find a new guest character, it gives you a new special trick to use. And also, I can't talk about a Tony Hawk game without bringing up the soundtrack, because these games never disappointed in that regard at least. Having songs from Jimmy Eat World, Less Than Jake, Metallica, Disturbed, and even Frank Sinatra's That's Life and Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire, it's definitely a memorable soundtrack. After an hour of going through all these goals, we could finally leave. After my amazing chat performance, our team is back in the lead. Well, until we find out Leo lands on Rookie Swap and me and Eric switch teams. Great, so all that work was for nothing. I just want to go back home to my family. Next on our forced hostage field trip around the world, we go to Berlin, Germany. Now skating for Bam's team, we really gotta up the ante. So we gotta break into an old haunted church and free a bunch of ghosts, kill Wee Man by drowning him in a fish tank, break smoking vending machines so that kids can't smoke anymore, and use this tagger guy to repaint a mural. We do a lot of good deeds over on Bam's team. Also, you can find Paulie, that kid in the body cast from earlier, and you can actually play as him. I think out of all the vehicle ones, I think his was actually my favorite to ride around in the most. I don't know why, it was just really fun to control. Not saying riding in a wheelchair would be fun, but you know what I mean. Now, I don't know why, but this level just took me so long to get through. Really regretting that sick difficulty. So then we end up murdering a ton of people on the train, and then we're out of here. Seeing that things on Team Tony are going so well since Eric is trying so hard to be cool to his new teammates and he ends up dying.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The wheel conveniently lands on Rookie Swap again and things are back to how they should be. But 3 levels in we finally meet our antagonist of the game. A straight-to-DVD movie producer who wants to film the tour to line up his pockets. We kindly declined his offer and we head to our next destination after a quick little detour to Thailand. But then we make our way to our next official destination, Australia. Now not gonna lie, this was probably my favorite level in the whole game. Legit, it's just a good level. There's so many combo strings here to do and it's just a lot of fun to play. Just the whole aesthetic of it is nice. So after busting out some moves for a high score, we cause a massive traffic accident. Thank God no one was killed. That'd have been a big lawsuit. We then find this big secret cave area to skate through. Also, we meet our new buddy here on a go-kart. Out of all the vehicles, his was definitely the fastest. I almost made myself sick driving around this one. Once I vandalized this billboard, I went and cleaned up the remaining goals and it was time to move on. Fortunately, since we were last to get our points, we were being sent home. Until they realized that Phil's math was wrong, so we actually tied. That kid that Tony cured of his sickness earlier appears and tells us that Nigel's been secretly filming our tour and selling bootleg DVDs. A tiebreaker is decided since Eric got last for his team. We have to compete on who can humiliate Beaverhausen the most. Eric then decides that stealing his clothes was the ultimate prank, but it ultimately does nothing since the dude just has multiple of the same outfit. Bam just decides he's over Eric's dumbass and helps us win. We wear Nigel's clothes and we go around and fart on construction workers and make birds poop on beachgoers. This leads everyone to assume Nigel did this and they take him down under.
Take care of that tool.
Yo, you can look at his face. Look at my face. You can tell the nose and is like floating.
What about me? Oh, no. This can't be it. This can't be it. Come on. Give me another chance.
It's like floating.
Guys, I don't have a ticket home.
Next stop, New Orleans, Louisiana. Here we find our buddy the Joker. Destroy more property because that's what we do best. Meet this funky jazz band. We can also burst out of this rave club. This level's really unique. Like I said before, I think the level design in this game is pretty top notch in my opinion. And decide to start the zombie apocalypse by grinding the skulls off these crypts.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Take a quick trip to hell and grind around this Pentagon thingy. Grab trick over the big boss man himself. Not that big boss man, like, you know. Tricycle Man is blown away by the power of Christ and he goes back to his swamp.
What are you doing in my swamp? What are you doing?
After all that fun jazz, we meet the teams outside and we're interrupted by Nigel Thornberry himself. Says that if we let him film our tour, he'll pay for everything. And yeah, we committed a lot of heinous acts throughout this trip, so yeah, of course. Come to find out, Bam's team is so far ahead in the lead that we can't even win. But after landing on the equalizer, we have to perform a super mega goal to be able to tie up the score. Chatty Chad Muska Chatterson steals a police helicopter and we're set to spine transfer over it and easily complete the equalizer. Literally the easiest goal in the whole game. Unfortunately, it's all in vain as the rest of our team is taken in by the police and it's up to me and the Hoffman himself to save the day. We're off to our final stop, Skatopia, which is actually based on a real-life skate park in Meigs County, Ohio. Here in Skatopia, we find a mysterious Bigfoot who steals our new rocket board away and takes off into the sunset. Then we can play as him, but he only does like 2 tricks and his manuals are pretty fast and that's about it. Also, this goal that involves you having to combo from one hut to another took me way too long. At least like over 30 minutes. It was a pain in the ass. After a ton of pain and suffering getting through the goals, we finally finish it. Bam decides he wants to blow up Skatopia for the grand finale. The one final act of terrorism. You have to combo the explosives and lead the doggos out of the park. Then Bam reveals he's in the lead again and says if we combo through the entire exploding Skatopia, he'll give us 1,000 points and we'll just end up winning the competition. At this point, I think all the fire explosions were becoming a lot for my emulator to handle because my game was really starting to slow down here. But I managed to finish it, easy peasy. We finally win the contest, and what did we win exactly? Nothing. The real world destruction tour was the friends we made along the way. But that's pretty much the ending to the story, and it's definitely a ending. Is it terrible? No, a bit outdated and a bit of a downgrade from Underground 1, but overall still a fun time. 7 out of 10. Now I shan't forget Classic Mode. Classic Mode is exactly what it sounds like. Classic. Basically by this point, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 through 3 are considered nostalgic, so they added in the Classic Mode. Take a shot for every time I say classic. I went with the best secret character, the Hand. This brings us back to having to compete goals within a 2-minute time limit, and it actually adds some old levels from the previous games like School, the Warehouse, 2 of my favorite levels with Canada and the airport from Pro Skater 3, and the also absolute worst Tony Hawk level ever imaginable, Downhill Jam. Yeah, sorry not sorry, it's a bad level, it's just not fun, it's awful. There's obviously a ton of unlockable characters and levels, so there's absolutely hours worth of fun here. So yeah, including classic mode, 8 out of 10. And that's Tony Hawk's Underground 2. There's a lot of good content here in this game, and this game's honestly just a fun time to go through. The Tony Hawk games will always be special to me. They influenced a lot out of me. And while Tony Hawk's Underground 2 isn't my personal favorite of the series, it's still a Tony Hawk game. So it's still great, and I don't think I can ever get bored playing these games. I feel like I can literally play these games for just hours on end and waste so much of my life like I did a lot of my childhood. If you can get your hands on it, it's definitely worth playing. I'll most likely revisit the other games in the future, and I always look forward to getting back into them. Thanks for watching this video review. Hit the thumbs up if you liked the video, leave a dislike if you didn't, and consider subscribing if you like me and my random game reviews. So, thanks.
Bye bye.